order. Roll call, sir.
Bring this. Commissioner Kate.
Here.
Commissioner Gallagher.
Here.
Commissioner Buckley.
Here.
There's quorum present.
Okay, as you wish, please stand for the pledge and the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk.
Dear Lord, come to you today thankful for everything that you've done for us. We realize that Christmas time is joyous, but it's also tough for a lot of people that are sharing it alone. We ask for healing for some of our associates and their spouses. Some of them are having a real struggle right now. We ask that you here. All these things we ask in your Son's name, Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Consent agenda's on the board. Well, that last item, I almost put certificate of learner, but, motion, please.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We have a long agenda today, so let's get going on this thing. Okay, we need to approve the lab services for the jail, the agreement for the jail, and Quest, motion.
I make a motion, we approve the lab services agreement for the jail through Quest.
Second.
I'll second.
Anybody here that knows how to talk about this?
It's pretty.
It's existing agreement, I'm sure, and they wanted just to extend it.
That's our understanding. Quest is local, it's the biggest in the area, and they're most efficient. You can get results almost instantly, but they need to test on
Do
things.
you work for them?
No, but they're dang good.
Sound like it. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor of approving this agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Approve COLA for employees. It's been recommended we go to 3%. Motion?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion, we approve the 3% COLA for all county employees,
Non-elected officials.
non-elected officials.
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions, comments?
We have to do the COLA in order to do the budget.
Yes.
That's just the reason that you have to approve that, so they have something to put in the thing.
And this begins on
January 1st.
January 1st, 25.
Is this across the board for all employees?
Yes. Okay, any other questions? All in favor of approving this 3% COLA, please say aye.
Aye.
Of course, COLA stands for cost of living allowance.
And that was for, not for the elected officials, that
Yeah,
1.5%.
that's-
Okay, I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you, Lou, for the question.
Okay. Now, the salary commission handles the pay for the elected officials. And so this is, yes.
I was gonna say, would you like me to explain how that works?
Yeah.
All right, the salary commission gets together on elected officials. Now, we do not set the prosecutor or the judges, but we do set the salaries. You cannot be voting on your raise because you cannot get it until you're elected again. For example, the commission had recommended a $5,000 some odd dollar, so the base would be $78,000. What you all have traditionally done is given the elected officials half the COLA, whatever the COLA was. You don't have to do that, but that's it. But you're not getting it. For example, you and Louis and I, if we would run for another term, then we would get, after elected, we would get the higher pay, but then that would freeze your salary for the next 4 years. So you're not talking about, your base isn't for 1 year. In our case, it's for the next 6 years. So when we're going in an inflationary period the way we have, if you do not raise your base, you are falling behind and you cannot catch up because then you can't give the elected officials a raise until they're re-elected. So for part of us, or half of us, that's a 6-year number. And the reason the salary commission cannot approve that 1.5% COLA is because you had not set it for your budget yet. That they met a few weeks ago. So I thought I'd explain how that works.
Did I get?
Make that motion to approve the salary commission decision.
I'll second.
Questions, yes?
Not a question, just a moment of clarification, just a little bit. We also took, the salary commission also took in consideration of other first-class counties as to what their officials are being paid.
And you provided a great thing where all the other counties, where their pays were.
Not only just first class, but several other
So
classes.
there's some third class on there and others that we're getting.
Well, primarily first class, what we were focusing on, and we are at the bottom level
Yes.
of salary compared to the other first-class counties.
We appreciate you putting that together, because it was, like, say, Genevieve's, wasn't it? They were on there.
Considerably more.
They were considerably more.
And they're a third-class county.
Around us, we have fallen a little bit behind, but as they've stated in the past, you don't want to be the highest paid, but somewhere in the middle to the,
Yeah,
just
we're
below
far
average.
from the highest paid
Yeah,
in
'cause we're
first
close
class.
to it below.
But based on, assessed valuation as well as population too, so.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions, comments? Yes?
Is this an approval of the actual salary commission minutes as well? 'Cause I didn't see where the minutes from the meeting were ever approved in a meeting.
Well, we have that record here. And it's been in the minutes, so
Yep. Well. So
I
we
have a
just wanna
copy
do
of the
it.
minutes and it's been stamped by the clerk, so I assume it's in the
Well,
record.
I think you have, but if you want to cover yourself, make the motion that it approves this and the minutes as reflected in that paper.
Okay, might be a double whammy, we'll do
Yeah.
that.
So moved.
CYA.
Okay,
So
you
moved.
want to amend the,
Yeah, I did, yes.
Okay.
I'll second.
okay. Okay, any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
I believe it was done in consent.
Okay.
A month or two ago, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But this will clarify.
Okay.
October 24. Okay, Evolve cybersecurity insurance policy. This is 15, almost 16,000 per year. And motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the Evolve cybersecurity insurance for $15,745.80 a year.
A second?
Okay, any questions? Yes,
Do we know the last time this was bid out?
I don't. And Rhonda's not available today.
Yep.
Okay. I just know statute says we have to bid it out every 6 years, so I was curious when the last time it would have been.
Well, I think this is pretty new.
Yeah, we started having to pay it
Yeah, I
ourselves,
think
I
it was,
believe.
Yeah, we did it
I think
last
it was
year.
just, yeah.
Okay.
just-
I was just curious.
Just a year or so, yeah. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Approve MAC for the comp insurance. There's a note on there about, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this for Rhonda, because unfortunately she had to go with it today. MAC is a trust, all right? It's quasi-governmental, and they can't cancel you, drop you. They can reflect your loss, which they're doing, and it's going up from 346,000 to 456,000, so a big jump. But just this last month, we had 3 more claims on work comp. We've got claims, and we've got one person that's been on for a couple of years that has hundreds of thousands of dollars that they've paid out. So they can justify, they're not supposed to be a for-profit agent, but they have to justify their claims based upon past experience. We got other bids. First State, one of the companies they represent, has a bid, and it would save us almost $150,000 in the first year. And I'm all for going for First State. The problem with that is we tried to get a guarantee after the first year, will we be insurable? Even if you put, okay, it could go up this much, it could go up this much, but would we be insurable? We cannot get any guarantee to that. So you all have to evaluate, do you want to save the money short term, or do you want to risk 2 years in this? Because you cannot join MAC back up for 3 years, the current insurance company. So we have to sit out 3 years, and then we have to be voted upon.
You have to vote.
And then we have a 25% penalty for not giving 60-day notice, which is $100,000. So the savings would be net, not that much. But if you go in a year or two from now and have to go to the high-risk pool, it's like buying car insurance after you've had a DWI. It would be hundreds of thousands of dollars a year more, so you've got that to worry about. Now, I may not have to worry about that at all, but 2 years from now, you all might get the shock of your life when you can't get insured, and you have to have comp insurance. So do what you want, but Rhonda does this every day, and she says, I cannot imagine us taking the risk. I thought that was of 3 years from now not being able to be insured. With 200 some odd people couldn't get insurance. So that,
Thank
do
you.
whatever you think's best.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, this is, and just to clarify what MAC is, that's not Mineral Area College.
No, that's right.
Because some people in the public get confused
I missed
about
that,
things
yeah.
like that,
I missed that.
okay?
Yeah.
It's a good point.
You're right.
We've done multiple research
That's the
on this.
Missouri Association of Counties, by the way.
Yes, it is. It's their trust fund, and we've done multiple research, a number of hours spent on this, trying to ascertain what is the best for the county taxpayers. And we are concerned, while we appreciate the bids we received, or the bid we received, we are concerned about going forward to the future, and I'm sure the county commission is more concerned about that than they are about the present day. So, recommendation from the auditor's office as well as the collector's office that you consider this proposal.
The underlying fact is if we don't get our work comp claims, we're gonna be up no matter what. It's just, because that's what MAC has to do, is they have to look at it and say, okay, this is what you guys are costing us, we've got to raise your insurance rates this much. And as long as we keep getting, now we don't hourly, but 3 claims, new claims this month alone, you can forget about raises, because all of ours is gonna go to premiums for getting insurance. But
And I appreciate that, Louis, thank you, Auditor's Office, and thank you for explaining that, Ken.
yeah, Rhonda does the work on that.
And she does, and we appreciate that. This isn't something that we have, I don't know what I did.
Lights went out over Kevin over there.
Okay.
Clap off.
So, yeah, sorry. So I will make the motion to approve MAC for the comp insurance, to stay where we're at right now. There's too many unforeseen things. I believe that, of course, First State Bank Insurance did come up. They gave us the best they could, and they work, and that's a third party also. MIM, if I'm not mistaken, Missouri Employees. Mutual, okay. So I just want everybody to know that they did a great job, and we enjoy our relationship we have with First State Bank. I mean, we have all kinds of insurance with them. So right now, and I know some have to stay silent on this, that they're close, and I believe, they may work something out in the future to where we can work together on this also, but we do have a good working relationship with them. For that, I'm just gonna say, I'm going to, make the motion that I approve the MAC for the.
I second that. Okay, any other questions? Roll call vote, please. Roll call
Commissioner
vote.
Cater.
Yes, aye, yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Commissioner Buckley.
I will,
Abstain.
refrain from voting?
If-
Abstain.
I just want to clarify, you do not have to abstain if you're approving a contract with somebody other than First State. So do whatever you want. But
Okay, I think
you
he's-
can still abstain. Don't
he's
get me wrong.
abstaining.
I'll abstain. on
Legally
this.
don't have. to.
Okay, all right, so that's carried, thank you. Change emergency management pay system, I thought I did
Oh,
that.
we did, didn't we? Okay, I
Well,
just wanted-
Bridget, can we talk on this?
You're right, I'm sorry.
Do I need to kind of talk on this a little, or just?
You can, I mean,
Well, what happened on emergency management, we have really Nick is really our emergency management, and then we have a, what's his name?
Chuck Farr.
Chucky Farr.
Chucky Farr is actually his assistant on it, and we kind of lost funding on this till July of this year, possibly get funding on this. So we're talking about, a half a year of we will have to pay their salaries till we are refunded on this in July. So this is basically the change in the emergency management pay system, and then possibly after July, we will go back to what we originally, the intent of paying those, which is.
It was contingent upon their
Yeah.
getting the grant to get them paid. So,
9,000, 7,000.
there
Yeah.
was some
So this
reports-
is just to remove the contingency?
This is to
Yeah.
move the contingency, yes.
So the pay will stay the same as they're getting now?
Pay will stay the same,
And
yeah.
is this effective date is certain that we, I mean, is it something that you're putting in this next year's budget or something we gotta pay this month?
They're already being paid.
Yeah.
This is for next year's budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
So January first, yeah, yeah. So, it no longer contingent, is that your motion, Kerry? 'Cause I just want to
Yes.
make sure.
Oh, Louis.
Louis?
So why did we lose the funding from the grant?
Well, the grant, Nick, they have to hold 2 or 3 programs through the year. And Nick had one program in and the other one was like 2 or 3 days late. And it really, we lost our funding and they're applying it again, but we're not gonna receive it again till July. I mean, I'm not gonna really blame nobody. I mean, it's just something that happened. And I think it'll, and you know, Nick does the tornado sirens, and I think in the future, we have to have the fundings to fund this stuff, so we have to get back on track. There was just a mistake in it somewhere with a delay in one of the programs he had. And I think what they did, they interacted with the other departments. It just fell in the amount of time they didn't accept. So we actually lost that funding, but we'll gain it back in July. And you know, actually in the future, we really probably, for grants and to properly run the emergency, you know, eventually one day we'll probably need a full-time emergency management position where that's the job they have. I think it will help us in the future, but right now, we're not ready for that.
So is there a job description associated with this?
You mean with?
Emergency management? There is. I think there is, but to be honest with you, I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
And who provides the oversight for this position?
Commission.
Commission.
Yeah. Now, some of these things, and guys, I know it's easy to press blame, and I don't think that's what you're doing, but what I would say, yeah, we blame, I have to say, and Nick will take the responsibility and say, hey, this was our fault, we didn't get that class in time, but also you gotta look at the way things were done in 2020 to on with the COVID. A lot of these classes were, okay, we're gonna take them, like you said, with other departments, and so those were changed, and we're going back to try to do those classes that were done prior to the COVID years. And that's what's awful, because some of these were done virtually and now you have to make the classes. So some of these things are falling into that, but I'm assured that these guys have their classes that they're gonna be taking, and those things will count for the next fall.
Well, I think, Louis, it was a lesson learned that we have to change in the future.
Well, I think my point is, Nick's in charge of IT, Mr. Farr works for 911. There doesn't appear to be a job description, there possibly is, but if you're dedicated to one particular position, you know, how much time do you have to dedicate to the other position? That's my own way.
Well, I agree with you.
know.
That's what I'm saying. In the
Yeah.
future, I think it would benefit us in the future to have strictly emergency management. We just don't have it right now. We're getting by paying less with what we have, and this is what it costs us.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to do 2 things at once, and he's done a good job up till now. Just what Nick's had to do, it's changed, as Dave said, since COVID, where they have to perform certain things with other departments. And I think that really didn't get done in a matter of time. They had it done, it just wasn't accepted. So we know for the future what we have to do.
That class was 2 days off schedule from
Yeah.
the deadline of that. Didn't pick up on that.
And we lost out.
Yeah. So the total amount is,
I think it's 21,000, 14 plus 7,000.
I mean, and then you know the favors we get, we got our tornado sirens, you know, Nick does all that. But, you know, these grants fund off that, so we have to get that back to keep that process
can
going.
this salary be budgeted through Prop P funds?
Not right now, no.
Rich?
Although the funding will be reimbursed when the new grant goes into effect.
No,
What
it
is
won't
the
be
cost
reimbursed.
at this point?
Okay, the cost will be 14,000 for the full-time and 7,000 for the part-time.
Now, so does the grant need to be submitted each year?
Yes.
And this won't be refunded, this particular time.
Now, that being said, why don't we pay them normally instead of looking for a grant to fund them?
Well, the grant is free money, basically, if you want to look at it that way.
Because that's your tax money, that's
Yeah, that's the
available.
grant
We're
funds
just trying to save
program.
money, but aren't we talking, guys, you guys are talking 21,000, aren't we talking half of that, because we're getting paid half of the year?
Yes.
Through, so half of it, thank you, thank you, Tim, I'm sorry, $10,500 is what we're talking about, so.
Well, if it's awarded for the period starting
If
July
it is,
1,
you're right,
25.
exactly.
We're not guaranteed to get it, but
You're not,
we've
and
not
then
had any issues.
this,
prior.
and you're right, Rich, as you were talking about, because if I'm not mistaken, SEMA seems to think that this is something that will end in the near future, and we could be talking a year, we could be talking 10 years, but something that may be having to be paid. And that's why what Carrie's point is, we need to really seriously look at a full-time, but what's the salary on a full-time right now, Carrie? Somewhere around,
44 to 70.
so.
And I've called, Rich, I've called a couple of other emergency managers like Cape County, and their programs they're more direct. I mean, if you have a full-time emergency management, they can put the time into it. You can go after the grants. Their programs are every month. He works with fire departments. We just, right now, we split it up. Nick works with the local fire departments as best they can, and they all interchange and react. I mean, it's just something that happened to fall 3 days short. Really, they didn't know it until after the fact. It just cost it. Probably won't happen again, but all I'm saying is in the future, for emergency management, we're probably gonna have to look for, open up a position and probably best, but we're looking at 44 to 70,000. But, you know, if you have somebody in there full-time, Nick does a great job. It just, when you can do that full-time, it might benefit us. We're looking at it now, but we're not gonna act on it right now.
Anytime you give one person 2 jobs, he's got to have his priorities. And when we have flooding, storms, that kind of thing, Nick's busy with that. We know that.
All that's understood, and I thank you for the explanation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will a COLA be given on that 14 and 7? In the past, we haven't because it was all
It passed-
corresponded to
it
the
passed
grant,
for all
since it's
employees.
not now.
It passed for all employees.
Yeah, but excuse me, it did more because of the grant. We didn't.
Because it's a grant, it should,
Position,
doesn't
so.
fall under that.
So, now that we're paying it in full ourselves, that's what she's asking, but being part-time on both of those, we don't give her part-time the COLA, is that correct? Oh, we
All
do.
employees
We do,
get COLA.
okay.
We passed that for all employees.
Yes, gotcha, so, something we'll have to do in our budget.
Okay, anything, yes,
You said that Prop P monies couldn't be used for this 21,000. What's the rationale? It's
Oh,
public
well-
safety.
From my aspect, I'm sorry, right now, we're not, but in the future, because we passed it as a proposition, public safety, I think it's something that could be looked at in the future
But
to be.
why not
yeah.
now?
Well, right now, we've obligated those to the sheriff's department. All funds are going to the sheriff's
I
department.
know that was a promise, but that wasn't what was voted on by the people. And, I think we need to take a look at that.
There are several things that fall under
Yes.
public safety that in the future, once they get the sheriff department funded, right, that should be allotted to them. But there are several things that fall under that, but not just.
I think Carol, in the future, I feel pretty comfortable in the future that we can maybe change stuff, but as right now, I don't, but I see in the for future, but not right now. I mean, I think we need to stick where we're at for a little bit, but.
And she's right, though, and I mean, really, Carol, with hiring of the 10 officers, like we said we were gonna do, the vehicles that we bought, and, so we're on our first year, correct? So first full year of what we've come up with, another, I don't know, 6 months, year to whatever, we're okay. it did the same amount, we're here, can we use that for sirens? We passed it as public safety, so can we do sirens in the future on these instead of coming out? I mean, we pay for one now and one gets paid for, if I'm not mistaken, with the grant. So I'm along those lines, and like, you know, Parks worked real hard, and Carrie and all of us worked hard to get it passed. But we've got some promises we need to fulfill, and after that, we need to look at what else can this money help us out with. So we just gotta get stable of where we're at.
Well, I hope you don't take this as personal criticism, but you also promised a pig and a poke in a way. You did not know what your revenue was gonna be from P. And I think it's exceeded some expectations. So, you know, to just promise 100% is a big gift. So,
I'm not gonna say I don't disagree. I just think right now, from what we told the public, and I know Parks and I did that, it was strictly going there. And I think right now, if we stick with that course, I think in the future, it will help. I think we can look at options. I just don't think right now is the time.
well, as a previous policymaker, I've had to deal with promises and promises fulfilled.
Yeah.
But, you know, there has to be a time when the law, you know, what we actually passed.
Well, and it's not just with the law, everything that was said from up here, you might have went out and talked to people out there, was just for public safety. Public safety is a little bit broader than just the sheriff alone.
Okay.
It encompasses several things. Now, if we go spend it on sewers, we've broke the promise that you all set up here that we were gonna use for public safety, but as long as it's public safety, that's a reasonable request.
I just think really in the permissible future, I look for things to work out.
Well, and to clarify, the ballot language did not restrict it to
Not even to public,
safety.
no, not even.
This commission has allocated it to
Yes.
public safety,
It's
but
also
the
a
ballot
promise
language
made
did not specify.
Exactly.
You also have to remember too, as we promise these things to people and they support us on this, we go and take their promise away from them, like, we're gonna need something with the road and bridge here in, what, a couple of years. We made promises to them on this, if we, within less than 2 years, we go and start changing what we're doing, I wouldn't support that again.
But-
If
Maybe you told everybody that you were only gonna go for sheriffs.
Yeah.
From here, we didn't tell them that, and I never told them, I
I
said,
know the
public
ones,
safety.
Karen and I
That's
were out there
what
in the
was
pavement on
popular.
this, and that's what we promised,
we-
very, very strong.
You're right, but I hear what Carol's saying
Go out there
also,
working.
we've exceeded our.
I agree, we're not
Right,
even 2 years in this though.
right, definitely, and that's what we
I
want to
think
do.
we gotta
is
get I think we
see
gotta
where we're at.
first figure out the sheriff's department. We've
We'll
also
figure out
shrunk
who-
the
Only
budget
one
the last 2
person
years.
talking at a time, please.
I'm sorry.
We've also shrunk the sheriff's budget the last couple of years as well, so we're shrinking their
No,
budget because
no,
we're
we
trying.
we did not shrink the
It absolutely
sheriff's
has shrunk
budget.
the last 2
No, we
years.
did not. The sheriff's department had to shrink the budget.
I'm not saying who shrunk, I'm saying the sheriff's department budget has
Was-
shrunk because.
Yeah,
the property
we
taken
didn't do
place.
it.
But I'm saying is we start taking that money from the, what was talked about all year this year? Sheriff's department didn't have the money, sheriff's department didn't have the money. We start taking the Prop P from them, I mean, if I'm out there as a
Yeah,
taxpayer.
but the previous budget was not shrunk by anybody in this room other than the department head.
All I'm saying is the sheriff's department budget was shrunk, is all I'm saying.
Well,
It's
okay.
not a shot at you, that's just in general, I'm saying the sheriff's department budget, or the budget was shrunk.
But for now, we have decided that we will continue with the sheriff's dedication to this funds for now, but we know that that'll taper off in the future. First of all, the funds are growing. The amount is growing, so Rich is popular today. But, so it's planned that we'll cut back on that in the future.
And not cut back, but as it grows, we'll be able to
Keep it
use it.
Public safety.
Exactly,
Yeah.
keep it public
Right.
safety.
Okay.
That's why Proposition
Yes.
P, not Proposition S.
Okay. All right, anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Approved transfer from emergency fund. That boiler is gonna cost us $26,032, and we need to move the money from the emergency fund to this, for this purpose. And as of, I think yesterday, the balance was $411,000 in that fund. So, motion?
Commissioners? Yes. Before you vote, the auditor's office is researching that this can be paid through the equitable sharing fund if you start moving money from your emergency fund, you're going to not put it in a deficit, but put it in a situation that we're not comfortable with from the auditor's viewpoint. So we're researching, and we've emailed Jefferson City about possible use of that $26,000 coming from equitable sharing.
What is that?
So would you be comfortable with the motion made to pay out of equitable sharing in the event that that's not possible, have taken out of emergency funds?
Yes, or it could be paid out of inmate security funds as well,
Sharing.
which can be provided for the safety of the detention center.
Yeah, it's important to have the hot water.
Well, yeah, it's important for hot water, but at the same time, when you start using emergency funds, that's a wide spectrum, and if there's other alternatives with the funding that's available from other areas, you might consider that. But as far as going ahead and paying for it, I mean, Amber, we can pay for it out of general revenue and make a line adjustment.
Well, we've yet to see a requisition be entered for it, and this may be the reasoning. If it was gonna be paid by the emergency fund, it would be better to pay from LEST and then reimburse, but I would recommend it be paid, if it's coming from a different fund, either directly out of inmate security or directly out of equitable sharing, if allowable.
So what would be a motion that you would allow, that to pay the bill and to be determined in a future meeting which fund it comes out of?
Yeah, because you need the money now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Authorize the payment of the bill with the determination of the department it would come out of in the next week or so.
You can take out emergency fund, but we're just reminding you of what's available.
So is there, I take it there's not a reserve at the jail for emergency purchases or situations that may arise?
Not particularly.
Bridget?
I'm just wondering why the equitable sharing was discussed without my knowledge, since I'm in charge of the grants.
We just discovered it this morning, and that's why we requested Jefferson City to give us a definition on it.
Next
Thanks.
time,
Yeah,
I would
that's-
appreciate being, included in that, please.
Yeah, which helps.
Well, it literally happened 15 minutes before we came in, because we thought it would not work, but I suggested to Amber that we go ahead and send it to Jeff City and get their clarification before it goes any further.
Okay, how do we want this worded on the motion?
I'm gonna take a shot at this. I'm going to make a motion, we pay the bill for $26,032. If equitable sharing, no, with the
LEST.
LEST, we'll
fund,
be able to pay
reimburse
for
with
this
the
and
emergency.
reimburse through whatever
Through the
fund
emergency
we
fund.
can make the
Right.
movement
To be
and
determined.
to be determined, and to pay this for the boiler, to purchase the boiler for the sheriff's
Okay,
department.
LEST is law enforcement sales tax. Yes. Second.
I'll second that.
Questions?
Now, I will like give them an update on the boilers. We had a boiler that we had ordered back in March of last year that actually did come in and is
This week.
been put in, it is working. This is actually, the backup has been working this whole time that we were fearful would go out and we would not have any water at the jail. So this kind of played, even though we had to pay for it. Now we have the new boiler in that's been on order for 8 months. We have the backup boiler the new boiler put in, where we'll have 2 new boilers. We actually have the backup boiler with parts that we can refurbish, set down in the bottom, and I'll probably be gone before we have to mess with this again.
Now, you're saying that the second boiler that was still working is now gonna be our reserve?
It'll be our reserve, and we will take parts that are on the one that actually was broke, refurbish it, and put it down in the basement where we're gonna have plenty of time. We're gonna have hot water for a while, and we don't have to worry about this. So it was a major problem, and it's kind of really being fixed all at once, and I'm pretty glad that this is over.
Yeah. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And thank you, guys.
Okay, permission to sign phase 2. Mike?
This is permission for the commissioners to sign the contract with Cochran Engineering to move forward with our Phase 2 trail system at the park. We have received the R2P grant, so we are ready to move forward. As soon as we get this signed, then they can begin the environmental review and get the design going. As of now, I feel like we're not because of us at the county level, but I feel like we're 3 or 4 months behind already on this because waiting on the grant approval.
Okay, now, does the grant cover this early design plus up to pavement?
Yes.
So it's a full,
No, it's $250,000.
okay. So that covers design.
If that's what we choose to, like it's all, it will
Okay.
cover $250,000 of Phase 2,
Okay.
of which the design, the bidding, and the construction, and the materials are all possible to do.
Okay.
Is there
Alright.
what is the grant? Is it, what's our share?
Well, it will be the difference between the $250,000 and what we end up with. I would look forward to be somewhere around at least one prices.
I didn't know if it was like a 80-20.
No, we just have to cover the difference.
We just have to
I think it's
co-
gonna
okay.
be around, what, 300?
Okay.
350,000, our part probably, something
Okay,
like that.
I just wanted to make sure when we put it in the,
This
looked at that early.
Cochran contract will be for around 106,000. Is that all right? Carries that what I gave you?
Yes, 106.
106,841.
Yeah.
Of which approximately half of that is for the design and permitting phase and environmental review, and the other half is for the construction phase.
Yeah, construction was what,
I think.
50,597 is the
Yeah.
construction phase.
Correct. The design and bidding phase, 56,219.
Mike, on a good weather day, how many people are out there?
Quite a few. If you count all the vehicles that come down and use the park, whether they get out or not, we're sitting at around 50 or so. Now, that was before this big cold snap. And each vehicle is average around 2 people. And of those, I would say 25 to 30% actually walk the trail. Another 10% walk along the river or use the river access. The rest either just turn around or park down the parking lot and do lunch or overall, it's been overwhelmingly positive response from
Good.
the biggest complaint that I hear is there's no boat ramp there, no safe boat ramp, which we're looking to rectify.
And then phase 2, Mike, will be another, what, 1.4 miles?
No, I think it's just under a mile.
Under a mile. It'll actually be on the gumbo side.
On the gumbo side.
Yeah.
So what it'll do is if you walk the whole thing, it'll end up being right at around 3 miles.
Yeah.
From parking lot till you get back to the parking lot.
And then this actually leaves us where later on, if we get into phase 3, that'll add another, what?
A little bit of trail.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the phase 3 with the bathrooms and the
Yeah.
playground and stuff, it'll add another little
Yeah.
trail up to the playground.
So we're still in the process of building and extending it.
Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is an ongoing well into the future. Probably looking at another 8 years or so.
Yeah.
Are you having trouble keeping trash picked up and?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. In fact, people have gone above and beyond and picked up other people's trash or stuff that's been there for 100 years and put it in our trash cans that we have all over the park.
And then one of our biggest problems we is worried about, the people from before, and that's been relatively, we haven't had any problems there.
No, we haven't had any sign of drug use that I have.
And are we still using you guys every once in a while?
Might request anybody, we.
Road and Bridge were out last week. They lined-
Thank you, guys.
They lined a ditch, and then they also fixed the entrance that was potholed out and rutted out from the trash trucks and stuff.
Well, I know their crew was also making sure those big, where the trash can used to be, and it was left that those guys were doing a real good job of keeping that cleaned up.
But there are a lot of trash cans at that facility now.
Now, yes, but before, remember our,
We had one.
yeah.
Because if you start
Okay, we need a motion.
Yeah, motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve permission to sign Phase 2 agreement for Owl Creek with Cochran Engineering.
I'll second.
Questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Kicker and gear, Mike.
I need you guys to sign this before you leave today.
Okay. Yes.
I can't, yeah, that's fine. I don't even know if this is on. John Gross, Highway Administrator. We have a change order for the Sand Creek Bridge project that is outside the scope of the contract that we had with Brockmiller Construction. This is for the south side of the bridge. Several weeks ago, this went underwater, about 3 feet of water. It deteriorated the road, not to mention we've had large cranes in there to set the beams. So we need to remediate that, about an extra 400 feet of roadway. So we're doing this outside of the Brockmiller contract. So this is a change order. Bridget, we talked with Jeremy and Colin. This was the easiest way to facilitate this change order and not run it through the BRO system. The other part of that is the BRO only pays for 10% of road construction. So if we were to get over that, we could lose that funding for the bridge.
And to be paid out of
Road and Bridge.
Road and Bridge. And John, you can,
007 account.
this was gonna have to be done anyway.
If we didn't do it
Yeah,
right now, we would do it
now.
next year when we overlay the road.
Yeah.
And actually, I was out there this morning on the north side of the bridge, and they've been bringing their haul trucks in and the concrete trucks. And we may have to do a section on the north side too here in a week when they go to overlay it. Just, the road is completely deteriorated. It's been due for an overlay the last
Yeah.
couple of years. We did not want to do an overlay with the anticipation that the bridge was getting rebuilt with the BRO money.
Has Lead Belt shut down the plant yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lead Belt has shut down their hot mix production. We can still get cold mix.
Real cold right now.
Real cold. This asphalt is coming through Mineral Area Asphalt,
Okay.
not Bonterra.
And Vern Bauman is whom Brockmiller chose as their sub, so they're the one doing the work out there anyway.
So we're just continuing that work.
And it'll be paid directly to Vernon.
It will.
Yes.
We cannot pay it through Brockmiller as part of the contract, the original contract. So this is just, it's a change order on the project.
This
But-
area,
I just wanted it clarified in the minutes to make.
this
sure
area of the
That is
roadway
correct.
would not have
Paid
survived
Vernon
until we
Bauman.
overlaid it. It would not.
John, when you think the bridge, next week? or-
I think it'll be open next Friday,
Next
weather
Friday.
permitting. They were gonna lay the asphalt tomorrow, but the road temperature is still too cold.
Yeah.
So we're looking at some lows in the upper 30s and low 40s towards the end of the weekend, and the beginning of next week. So they anticipate trying to lay it next week.
Any other questions?
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the change order for $36,648 to be paid out of the 007 account for Road and Bridge and to be paid to Joe Kirst.
I'll second.
Vern Bowman.
No.
Vern Bauman, I'm sorry.
And realize there may be another.
Sorry, I
one
didn't want to
coming
pay them all
next
this.
week.
Another one coming?
There may be another one coming for the other side next
Yeah.
week.
Oh, okay.
Vern Bauman, let's pay the right one, I'm so sorry.
Okay,
I'll
and,
second.
You got a second. Now, any questions? All in favor, aye.
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 Okay, I sent an email to Jason, the coroner, about this. I didn't get a response. Is this a landline or does anybody?
No, this is actually a line that Dana has out there, and the doc does not want to pay for this line, so we're just transferring. This is $20 a week. This line will be transferred over into the coroner's office. They will take the phone over. And,
So it's a landline?
It's her cell
No,
phone,
it's
sorry.
a cell phone.
And it's $20 a month.
Yeah, it's $20 a month, so that line actually is, really, you could say two separate entities out there. It's just gonna be under the corners.
Is that line
office.
dead?
Hmm?
Is that line dead?
No. No, it's alive.
Thank you.
But the
I don't know when I lost control of the meeting. but other than
current
that-
contract though is with Dedeker through the end of the year, right?
Right.
So he needs to pay through the end of
Yes,
the year.
to the end of the year, and
then
it'll be transferred over into the corners
Okay,
office.
yeah.
Has a new contract been put together for him for 25?
It's laying on his desk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments, questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, here's an agreement we need to enter.
Kerry made that motion, is that correct?
Right.
And I seconded it, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, we got it. Okay. Okay, now we need to enter into an agreement with DevNet. They need 9 scanners at that price for the collector's office. And that covers all costs for 5 years.
So what are these scanners?
I don't know, Angie's out ill today, and
They scan directly into DevNet, and they'll be able to scan people's checks, any kind of paperwork, and then it'll be associated with each customer's account. Yeah.
Is this 2,900 then, Bridget, for each scanner?
no, I think that's total.
I guess it was-
Is it 2,900 for each scanner?
Or total?
No, the total.
The total, okay, cause it, yeah.
Is that in her budget, or is that something you have to make the motion?
I'm sure it's in her tax maintenance
Okay.
budget for next year or this year. I have to check, but.
She wants it taken out of the tax maintenance.
Yeah. So the cost for 5 years, is that like a maintenance agreement for 5 years? I mean, we're not leasing these, right, or making them on a payment plan?
That's right. I think there's one, and I don't remember the amounts, because she told me there was gonna be a maintenance contract for them that was for 5 years, and then the
And then
9
the
scanners. And it seems like the scanners were they like $900?
I thought they were, cause they
It
were
was like
just under the
yeah,
informal bid.
it was, because it was like $900 a piece for the scanners.
So that's probably
I
the
think that's the
total
main-
contract for the scanners and the maintenance.
And the
Yeah,
maintenance.
That would be for the
Would be
maintenance, yeah.
29.
Angie assured me that's the total cost for 5 years.
So you're wanting you want the motion to be to purchase these things out of her
Tax.
current budget or next year's budget?
She wanted it out of this year's budget if she
And
could.
she wants it out of which fund?
Tax maintenance.
Tax maintenance fund.
Yeah.
So that's,
Not to exceed $2,925?
Yes. So I'll make a motion, we give permission to enter into an agreement with DevNet for the purchase of 9 scanners in the total not to exceed $2,925 for, out of the tax maintenance fund.
I believe the $29.25 is just for the maintenance contract on the scanners. It's not the purchase of the scanners. The scanners are $900, $900+.
But that's not what's on the agenda.
I know, but that's
I
what I'm
wonder if
saying,
she's not-
that's incorrect up there.
So that's incorrect, so you need to withdraw it?
Do you guys have a copy of the agreement in front of you?
I do.
Yes.
And you're all saying,
And she already, this says.
I'm wondering if it's covering. the
It's
scanner.
$9,075. $525 is the remote installation assistance. $29.25 sole source contract for and $8,500 for the $950 a piece.
That sounds right, yes.
So, maybe the other, all this is under 12, and I think it was all in her budget, so what do we have to clarify for them?
I guess just the.
The contract?
the
That may be
total.
why
It's
she's
just to
asking
approve
the
the contract if they're.
Approve the contract.
Yeah.
And to be paid from.
That's
tax
probably why the
Yeah.
$29.95 to approve the contract, because that's not in, the other is in her budget, that's probably why she did it that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't you think?
Probably.
The others in her budget, this has to be approved because it's a contract of agreement, and that's the motion you
That's the
made.
$29.95.
Did you second that?
I haven't seconded it yet.
Okay, did you hear his motion? His motion was to enter into an agreement with them for the not to exceed $29.95 coming out of the collector's fund.
Okay, I'll second that.
I just wanted to clarify what we were doing.
Now, we're saying tax management. You're talking about tax maintenance, but the word she gave me was management.
It's tax maintenance.
It's
Yeah,
tax,
tax
yeah,
maintenance
it's tax
fund.
Okay, well, that's what she told me, management, okay. Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye. Thank you, guys.
Been a long agenda. Okay, next week, right here. Other business, correspondence. Public comments. Departmental reports. Yes,
We started bridge inspections with MoDOT yesterday, so that's a process that'll take about 6 days during this nice weather to get down and inspect all of the non-state bridges in the county. So we do inspect city bridges as well.
how many,
And that has a 20-foot opening.
how many is that?
I don't know the exact number right on finger.
John, will you
It's in the hundreds,
still
though, isn't it?
do the ones that
Yeah,
you had just
around 100.
completed or have completed in the last, is there a time on these? Say, my car doesn't need inspection for the first how many years, so.
Every bridge gets inspected.
Every bridge.
And there are several bridges that we've constructed over the last several years, since this inspection was done, that were not on the bridge inventory before, that now will be on the bridge inventory. So those have to be added as well. Myself and one of the other employees at Road and Bridge are going with MoDOT to conduct those inspections
And this is, every other year.
every other year.
They do it every 2 years, inspect them all every 2 years.
No matter that you've just built.
No matter what.
And the deficiency rating determines the amount of BRO funding we receive. The worse our bridge is, the more we get. So as we're slowly improving our infrastructure, less we get.
But that's how it used to be,
Well-
under the old system. Now you guys have the regional committee that determines the rating of the bridge and how the funding's allocated through a region. Used to, we were paid based on the, square footage of the deficient bridge, and we got a yearly allocation. That's not the case anymore.
Have you met the new, engineer? Some Crowker is not the
Good.
engineer anymore, he's a project manager.
Chris is not there?
Right.
I have not met the new guy.
Well, Darius left, and this
Okay.
person took
And-
Darius's position.
Okay.
So
Chris is still there.
Chris is still in the same capacity that I understand that he's
Oh, I
always
heard
been
he's
in.
moving to a different position.
Well, I haven't heard that.
And as far as St. Francis County is concerned, I can't speak for the bridges that lie within St. Francis County that are in the city limits that we don't maintain. But in, I'd say, 3, 4 years, St. Francis County won't have any deficient bridges on our infrastructure.
That'd be awesome.
Good. We've got one really bridge left out there on the end, and then the one.
Well, we have the
main.
one on the old state route.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have one that was load proofed, on Old Cadet.
Yeah.
It still shows a deficiency, but
What about Kings Road?
it's in the BRO program
Being
right now.
replaced. It's in the process of being replaced.
Yeah.
In the-
Hayden Creek.
Initial
We're doing roughly $7 million worth of bridges right now, no cost to the taxpayers.
Any other departmental reports?
Couple things, I just wanted to bring this up at a public meeting. You all approved a year or so ago, a contract with employment professionals for some of our janitorial services. Since then, we hired a couple young people, they've been dismissed. Brian wants to, and I went back, you have not rescinded this, so it's still in effect. I just want to make you aware, we're going to hire a couple through them, part-time people, because that seemed to work better for the entry-level positions.
But he dismissed the first ones.
No, he dismissed the people that were hired permanently, not through them. And
Oh,
he would like to go back and fill in with these people, and I think the idea is that when it does well, and they like them, then they can offer them a permanent job. Another thing I wanted to remind everybody, we only have 2 weeks before, 2 more meetings scheduled before Christmas. So those of you that have contracts and bidding, if anything possible, you either get it done in the next 2 weeks, or then it's gonna be that last day of the year meeting.
Art, you wanna talk about the holiday meal?
Yep, 2 weeks from today, we probably shoot about 11:15 by the time we pick it up and bring it here, but it's gonna be Pasta House, again, not paid by the county, it's paid by elected officials. Yeah, we'll put on Pasta House seemed to be everybody liked last year for the most part, so we'll do Pasta House again, so, yeah, so please come hungry, and we wanna celebrate you and all the, great work you do for the county and make this place run so well, so.
Thank you for taking me there.
And all the people that attend these meetings are welcome.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, okay, anything else?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Been a long meeting, folks. Thank you.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
You don't know that.